Welcome to Jerking Around, a podcast that makes you feel better about yourself because we're a mess just like you.
And Crystal makes fun of me the whole time.
And it's great, and it's real. Today we talk about Tisha being mean to me.
We talk about the fight. We had a minor, I wouldn't say it's a fight, say you're more mad at me, but we had an issue. We resolved it.
She hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And I didn't mean to, but we
talk
resolved
about
it.
intention.
Talk about parenting.
Yes.
Husbands.
Yes. My dad. We talk a little bit about grief. And then we also talk about Tisha's surgery she has on her hemorrhoids.
No.
Today, we
Welcome.
are talking about a lot of interesting things.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving, Tisha?
Mine was good.
You were gone?
Yeah, we went to the Bahamas. It was really fun. How was yours? It was the first one without your dad.
Oh, thanks. It was actually really good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll get serious. We don't do that a lot, but
Yeah.
my anniversary of my dad passing was yesterday. So that's a little emotional and fresh, and Tisha really pissed me off yesterday. We'll talk about that later. But, so anyways, I was obviously more emotional. So today might be a little bit more somber, but this was my first first holiday without my dad, and I was really nervous about it, but it went really well. Last year, my dad was very, things were changing, so that year was harder for me.
Yeah.
It was like, you know how people say there's that, impending doom feeling?
Well,
And
it was right before.
Yeah, and I
Looking
really
back.
had that.
Yeah.
I was so sick, if you remember. And if you have been listening to us for a while, I think I talked about that last year. I was getting headaches. I was getting probably panic attacks because I was getting really dizzy out of nowhere. I would have thought textbook I was fully sick. I went to the hospital for headaches. It was bad. And
I totally knew what it was, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm not a doctor, but I should be. No.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. Well, I just knew you, and I knew how he was, and I could tell that you were struggling, but you weren't admitting it to yourself.
Yeah.
A little bit, which is normal to be kind of in denial that something could happen anytime,
Well, I wasn't in denial. I was very alert of what was happening.
Yeah.
That's why I was so upset about it.
So upset, yeah.
Yeah. Watching someone like your dad, who's been the strongest man on the planet, struggle like that was awful. But we're blessed that he wasn't in a hospital bed and taking his last breath. We didn't have to do hospice or anything like that. But his body was literally failing him, and he was mentally pretty all there. So that was so
and
hard.
so tough
Yeah.
to have your body be failing and you're gambling and running all over. He's
scooting in a scooter. Yeah.
But traveling.
Yeah.
That's
we went
a
to
lot.
Vegas the last.
Yeah.
So my dad passed away in Vegas. We went for a family trip, which we don't do a lot. And it's crazy even that I missed the state game to go to Vegas. I coach a team, and our football team went to state, and the fact that I wasn't there is just so not like me. But we all went to Vegas, and everybody told us, your dad shouldn't go to Vegas. He's not doing well. He's going to die. But we all knew, and we talked to him about that this would be a big trip for him. Are we sure it's a good idea? And we all decided to still go. And we got there, and we had a great time. And some of you have heard the story, and we all went. He gambled, which is his favorite thing. That's where I've gotten it from. My parents are big gamblers. And then we all went to dinner, had Italian dinner. My aunt and uncle, his sister was there. My cousin was there. We had this great thing. I even yelled to him in our last picture as a family, told him to look alive because he wasn't looking good. And our family jokes. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So I knew he wasn't looking good. So my way.
He thought it was funny. He probably laughed.
He laughed and smiled. And then they gambled and they went to bed. And he woke up at 3 a.m. to go to the bathroom. My mom helped him. He told her happy birthday. And then at 5, he didn't wake up. So we all went in there. We were with him for hours, hugged him. It got weird when the police had to tell me to get off of him. This is a crime scene, and you're now fully, I think I had my leg over him. I mean, I was fully on him. But so all that, replaying all that has been not my favorite this week. And where we were, what was going on, how it happened. And the reality that he's still gone.
Yeah.
Is hard, but we're doing good. The holiday was great. My mom got drunk, so that was fun. And she's a real fun drunk. She handles hard things really well. My family, we joke. So we made jokes about it all day that, Dad's sleeping, because that's what my mom tells people. She's, She's funny. So she tells everyone people were calling her phone, those telemarketers.
Yeah.
And she tells them her husband died. Like, they don't want to know. Stop calling me. My husband died. And I'm like, they don't care.
Oh,
but like,
so
she
funny.
tells people he's sleeping. At the casino, they always ask her where he is. She says sleeping.
That's
My
sad.
brother and I are like, we don't know if we should intervene. He's not sleeping. He's in heaven. So we kept telling everyone he was sleeping. But it was good. It was hard, but it was really good. I think after, like, I guess we could call this the year after reflection, I'm just not the same person I was a year ago.
Yeah.
Like, that's so clear to me the last, 2 weeks especially. Looking back on who I was last year, what was happening last year, how invested I was in work. I am not that invested anymore. I don't care about things like that as much. I am very more attentive to what's here and now, which was something for years I couldn't grasp, like being present.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm so present now that it's almost like bad. Like, I don't care what's happening other places.
Right.
I don't know. It's weird how like life humbles the crap out of you. Money doesn't matter to a point that it's getting weird. Like, it needs to matter a little bit. I don't know. Just being with my kids, being with my husband this week was very family, and I loved it. Whereas that stuff maybe didn't fulfill me as much before, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, totally. Not at all.
Yeah.
Like, I was listening to our podcast. You talk about how much you wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and how bad I didn't. And that was even like recent. And I still am like, I never wanted it. And now it's all I want.
Yeah.
Is to be like home and not have all the stress on my plate. I just want to be in the here and now. But my aunt's very sick too. She has a type of melanoma that's very dangerous and terminal. So I think it's just all around me.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a constant reminder all the time that like
Life's
today
short.
today is it. Tomorrow's not promised. So I think death can be like a blessing. I feel like I've been on pause at work, and I'm like, as soon as I get over my dad, we'll get back. And then I had this epiphany that it's been a year. Like, you got to get back. But I just can't get there. I really enjoy the podcast. So let's get famous.
Yeah.
Because I love this. I don't love that like I used to. It just changed. You just change.
Yeah, I think things just happen and you just
evolve.
change, and maybe that's just not your path anymore.
Yeah. I mean, Tisha's still selling houses. So if you're still interested, we still sell houses faster than anyone. And we still have a team. I just honestly am more from the outside, more like managing everything from above. I haven't been taking as many clients myself, but we're still doing a great job. I just was mad the other day because I like to be really good at things. And I was like, this is stupid. We suck at work. And then we made like every list. And it showed me too, as a leader, how proud you are when your team can go on without you. Like, usually I'm carrying a lot of sales, and we've been on the list without my sales. So that makes me super proud. Like, we built something really cool, and that everybody can go on without me. I actually was thinking today, I think everybody's better now without me. Like, it's like a parent with their kids. Like, sometimes my daughter has better advice than I do, because she's taken a little from me and then taken a little from her, and it makes her like a better version. Like I think you're like better than me now, which is like, you're like my prodigy in a way. And I'm like, no, I feel like you took a little of me and then you take a little of you, and it makes it good.
Well, I feel like a good leader, like, has people, like, you're not a good leader if everyone's always under you.
Or needing you.
Yeah. Or like you should have them be like you. That's how, like, that's the goal of leadership.
It is the goal. Like, Walt Disney died before, I think, was it California one or one of them opened, and it's gone on, like Steve Jobs, it's gone on bigger without him.
CCV
even. So it is a definition of a good leader. And I think I've learned that I can like step back, and we've done things a lot different too this last year in business. I mean, we used to do so much, and I think I've just learned that all those things just don't matter as much.
Yeah.
We're talking about that on the way here, besides talking about our fight. But
we're not talking about the fight on here. We're not talking about the fight. We can't say what the fight was about.
It was about someone wants a piercing and someone doesn't think it's a good idea.
It's about...
No, it's about friendships. We're going to talk about it.
Somebody has hemorrhoids and needs surgery, and somebody doesn't.
Yeah, and I told her the surgery isn't that bad. I've heard it's not bad. No, but what were we talking about? I don't know.
Oh, on the way here.
Reflection. Like, so I have a Christmas party every year, but I didn't have it last. Well,
last year we didn't.
We didn't have it last year.
Your dad had just died.
It was supposed to be the weekend my dad passed, and it was weird because we did an Evite and we don't always do an Evite, but that was a great way to tell all the people closest to me that my dad died.
Yeah.
Because my friends messaged out on the Evite that the party was canceled without even talking to me, which was great. Mm-hmm. Because it's something you don't really want to say.
Right.
Like, it's not the easiest thing to say it. Mm-hmm. So like, some of my friends maybe were frustrated, like, you didn't tell me right away. And I was like, it's still not an easy thing. That's why my mom tells people he's sleeping.
Yeah.
It's like not the easiest thing to say.
Yeah.
So it was nice that everybody found out all in once without like a social media post.
Or you having to call everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. That was all really hard for me. Even yesterday, I wanted to post for my mom's birthday because then more people will tell her happy birthday and she loves that stuff.
Yeah.
So I wanted to post because that'll help her get more. Everybody that texts her, Mom, guess who texts me? Oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh. She gets so excited. So I wanted to do that, but I also couldn't deny that my dad, but it's not easy for me to share.
Yeah.
I don't like talking about things that really hurt. Like, I like talking about dumb things.
Yeah.
But the real things, I don't like talking about. That's why I'm closing my eyes like an idiot, but
it's fine.
It's not easy. But anyways, I think like even my Christmas party, I'm like, I just want it super casual. And kids never come because everyone thinks it's college and they're on the counter and it gets weird. But I'm like, I just don't care anymore about all the things.
Yeah.
The Pinterest life of having things so cute. I don't know. It's just stupid.
Yeah. Well, I think like, I don't care about that stuff either. I think when your kids get older too, you're just like, that stuff is dumb.
Yeah. And like, now that I'm on a budget, because I'm not making as much money on my own and I have to like think about things differently. I'm
a
just
budget
like,
from Kyle?
Yes. And myself. Yeah. Like, I'm not bringing in.
Yeah.
I used to make pretty good money. And so, but Whole Tour Homes is still going, you know, if you still want us to sell your own weekend. But I just, you know, you have to hustle. When you're in your own business, you have to hustle to make money. So I'm not hustling. So I'm not making what I usually make. So then I can't spend what I usually spend on all these things. So I'm like, do I really want, but I did really want a bartender.
Yeah.
So I still have a bartender coming.
No, and I feel like Kyle's pretty good about parties. He's in support of like a good party.
He likes a good time.
Yeah, he does. He's not like...
He's wound tight, but likes a good party.
Like a vacation, no. You're not getting far with him on that. A good party, he's down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Again, not as funny today, but I was listening to this book today. If you've never listened, Tisha won't listen to anything self-help. And since I did 75 Hard, I have created a habit where I walk usually every day and then I listen to something to fuel my mind, which sounds really dorky, but I really like to learn.
Right.
So I listen, in 75 Hard, you have to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book every day. And I can't read if you've seen me spell or you've heard me read out loud. It's special. So I listen out loud while I walk. And I've read so many good books. I really highly recommend it. And it starts your day off with fuel instead of like problems.
Yeah. Or I think garbage like Instagram.
Yes, like Instagram or even reality TV.
I don't mind like... So I don't mind like an educational book on like you said like the podcast book you read or something. I would read something like that like gives information. I just don't like the motivational self-help like I don't know why I can't read those. It's just like
I can't physically read them, but I can listen to them. But I don't know if you can listen either.
I don't like listening. I don't even like when
and
I don't even like when the church service is more motivational and less biblical.
You like facts.
I'm like, I want some facts. I want some biblical, I don't need a motivational speech. I'm motivated, so it's weird. But I do like reading the Bible. It's weird, but it's not weird, but sometimes I'll wake up and read it with my coffee and I'm in a way better mood. And I do feel like it gives me so much like clarity about, and the Bible is like really helpful too about things. It just like realigns me. So I can read that. I can read.
See, and I cannot.
Really?
I've tried so many times. I'm like, what are they talking about?
Oh, I've read Revelations like 5 times.
Oh,
and
I
it's
cannot
so
read
good.
the Bible whatsoever. I need the Bible. I can read the story.
Really?
As the Bible in story form.
I can't read all of the Bible, but I can read certain parts.
Oh, I get lost.
Oh, and it's so good. I'm like, this is so...
The Bible is good on, like I listen on audio.
Yeah.
And the stories are great. Like, it's crazy the things that went on.
Yeah.
But I can't like just read a small portion and take anything from it.
Oh, I read and then I feel like it gives me like clarity, and I'm like, oh my gosh, or like I like reading of like Revelations, like things to come. I'm like, it's just really like interesting. So I maybe I need to find like books that are like factual. Yeah. And I could read those, but like self-helpy, but more factual, you know?
More like proven.
Yes.
You just don't believe people.
No, I don't believe anybody.
So you don't think anybody knows anything but
they don't.
You.
I know more than all of them. So it's like when they're talking, I'm like, ah.
Totally. But you would like Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Right, because that's more factual.
More fact. It's more like, these are things that are proven to work.
Right, based on like research. I'm into that.
Yeah, and he's very like not self-helpy. It's very like, these are tools. Why are you doing this? And I've read it a bunch of times.
When you were telling me about it, it sounded so good.
So today I was listening, and I was trying to go to the Bahamas with Tisha. Anytime Tisha goes on a trip, I want to go because she plans a really good trip.
Yeah, and like, I wanted
all dinners are planned.
And then she teases me. She does this thing where she's like, maybe I'll go, because I was like, she's definitely not going. Kyle's not going to go for it. So always in my mind, you weren't going to go because I'd asked you back when we were planning.
I know, but my aunt, I'm regretting that so bad. Next time I'm scheduling it from the beginning. Okay. And then I can cancel it.
Because at the beginning, I was like, come. She was like, no, Kyle won't go for it. So then I gave up. And then right before, you were like,
oh, I wanted to go so bad.
I want to go. And she's looking flights. I'm looking flights. I'm going to give her all my points.
I tried that last night. It was
getting weird. I was like, I can just give her 60,000 points. And Ben's like, what's going on? Like, I was just,
I wanted to go so bad.
It was such a tease.
I was like fighting with Kyle about it. That's typically how we get to go on a trip. Mm-hmm. Kyle's my husband. He's very type A. He's my opposite. He's very smart with money.
He doesn't do good with the last minute either. You have to have a plan with him.
He's very logical. He likes buying toys and things. I like memories. Mm-hmm. So it's like your opposite. And I do think that's natural and healthy to have your opposite. But I do think in marriage, sometimes it's really frustrating to always have your opposite. Like, we just see things so differently. And it's weird with you. You're a lot like him. And I think sometimes we forget to like good marriage advice years ago I heard, but I don't follow, but I'm going to start following, is you always want to assume the best in the other person. Like, you always want to know their intentions are pure.
Right.
Which is so true when you think about it logically. But sometimes when you get like...
I'm also our fight. Remember?
No, I know. I normally think that until you said that nasty thing about me.
Oh my God.
No, I do. That's why I always get along with you, is because I always know your intentions are pure.
Right.
Like, I never think you're out to get me. I never think you're
not
doing anything weird. Jury's out. But no, the jury's not out. It's going to be fine. But some days I get sensitive, and that's what happened yesterday. It was an off day for an off comment that would have probably never bothered me.
And sometimes I think about things before I say them.
Yes.
And I didn't think, and I didn't say the nicest.
We can't. We'll have to discuss it.
Quit talking about it.
No, we have to discuss it now.
Just quit
it's rude to our listeners.
They don't care.
We're being honest. Let's be honest. It's so funny when we talk about it. No,
I actually really like her podcast.
Have you listened?
No, but I listen. I watch it on Instagram.
I know. I hate when people say that. Like, people are like, I watch your podcast. I'm like, a 30-second clip is not my podcast. And you're doing that with hers.
I do it with hers.
Yeah, like, you're not watching her podcast. I've listened to it. It's not good.
It's not. No. I won't listen to it, but I'll watch the clips.
Little 30-second clips are great.
Oh, I love the 30-second clips.
Yeah, but
they make me want to listen.
But you haven't even listened. Yeah. People are always like, I watched your podcast. I'm like, you did. So did you hear? They're like, no. I'm all, you watched a clip. Get watching it. Hear the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But your clips are very good, Tyler.
Right.
So I think that's where, like, I sometimes let people too close, where I see some things in them that I'm like, but I'm like, I'll love them anyways.
Right.
You know? Because people have loved me anyways, because I am a jerk.
Right.
Like, if you listen to the podcast, when you meet me in public, you think I'm so nice. I would say. I seem very nice to normal people.
Oh, totally.
Which, this is like...
Tyler probably thinks you're way nicer than me.
No. Tyler and I have had talks. Tyler, like... Yes, see? He's seen the other side now. Right, Tyler? No, we've had, like...
Yeah.
But that means you're in my inner circle. When you see the real, that means, like, we're bonding.
Yes.
That sounds bad. But only a few people see the not-so-nice side of me.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah,
like, my whole team has.
Like, I see it all the time.
Yeah, but not all... See, Tyler? You're in the inner circle now. He
wouldn't say I'm so nice. Yeah.
He would say you're nicer now.
Really?
Yes. I don't know. So when people get to know me more, Tisha's actually nicer than me. Sometimes.
I would say that.
Once you're in with Tisha, it's nice all the time.
Right.
She's rude to you on the outside.
Once I'm in, you could kill somebody and I'm like there with you.
And I'm the opposite. I am so nice to the outsiders.
Right.
The insiders get jerked by me.
Yes.
Yes. It's so weird.
Yeah, you're right.
All my best friends will agree with this. I give time to all the outsiders.
Right.
I don't give time to the insiders. I am like nicer. I'm more forgiving to the outsiders.
Way more.
Yes. I know this.
I'm like...
I don't know why.
Yes.
It's a thing. So I feel like the jerkies know I'm not that nice because now they've heard me say more things than like the average person.
Totally.
So I do feel like everybody knows now that I'm very like believe in everybody. But once you're like close to me, you can hurt me. And then I'm very sensitive, like what happened yesterday.
Right.
So if that was a random where they said this one thing that offended me,
right,
it would have been no big deal. I would have loved them. I would have been like, they're having a bad day.
Yes.
But because it was you, it was like,
it was like I killed somebody. And I didn't say the right thing. I'm not discounting what I said because I didn't realize it was offensive.
Yes.
Because I wasn't meaning it to be offensive.
So when I like people, I do want Tisha to always tell me if I'm liking the wrong person because because a few times now, I didn't like the people she's bringing around into our inner circle. Again, I don't care if they're just your Joe Schmo acquaintance, but when they're coming around our inner circle, I am a little more protective. So when I like someone, like it doesn't happen that often, but when I like someone like a lot in a new meet, I get like excited.
Very excited.
Then I start bringing them in.
In everything.
In all the things.
It's like, it's 0 to 100.
Yes.
So.
And then what she meant was something else.
Right.
So we were still talking about it again today. How it hurt my feelings and how
and I didn't mean for it to hurt her feelings.
And she just knows that what she's saying is when I'm intrigued by somebody, that's her word, is intrigued.
Yes.
We'll say she used a different word yesterday that I didn't love.
I did.
And I was like, you think I just like people for like different reasons? That isn't why I like people.
No.
Or maybe money, sex, and power.
No.
I'm just kidding.
It's Diddy.
But kind of. Yeah. But I don't want to say too much about the details.
Yeah. No. And I think it's great that you believe in everybody.
I do.
I think it's such a great quality. I think it's great that you want to see the best in people and love them if you see a need. I think that is like how God created you and you're that way for a reason. So I think that's amazing. I just don't always love when I feel like maybe they're kind of weird and then they're around. I'm like, but
so that's it. So we're still talking about it today. That was the fight. But it was the anniversary of my dad. So I was super sensitive about like a lot.
Right.
And she got like a little sassy and she doesn't always do that or she can read the days to do that.
Yes.
So she got sassy and it was like we were working and I was just like.
Wasn't a good mix.
I get very embarrassed in front of other people too about like private things.
Right.
Like I seem like I'm really out there. Like my mother-in-law the other day was like, Crystal, you totally fart in front of Kyle. And I was like, I do not.
Yeah.
I'm like very private. Like it's weird.
I'm more out.
Yes, but you would seem more private on the outside, but you're actually totally fart in front of Ben. And poop with the door open. It's so, like, no way.
I don't know why I would shut the door in my own house. It's like, I live here.
I want to know.
It's open.
I want to know.
Well, sometimes he'll be like, gosh, can you turn the fan on? It smells. I'm like, no, go in the other room. Like, I don't want the fan on. It's too loud. And I like to sit and.
And it's weird you let him help you wipe.
No, I don't. That's so dumb.
He's all finally clean.
Yeah. Gross. No, I don't do that. But I do poop with the door open. And I think it's weird if you don't.
And do you fart like
I don't fart a lot, but
silent.
When yours I do, they're silent but deadly. And I totally do it. I'm like, ooh, watch out.
Yeah, isn't that funny? And I'm like so not like that. I'm like way more private with private things, but like out. But I give the illusion I'm like
we're
like
opposite.
Bonnie's like you. I would think you like run around naked. I was like, yeah, that's fine.
Right.
But I don't fart. I don't fart in front of my friends. Like if I do, it's like really embarrassed.
Yeah. Remember when one
weird.
came out that one time at the cabin and I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. And I probably cried laughing because I was so embarrassed.
So funny.
So anyways, we made up. We're making up right now.
We're
I think
good.
we made up with that
I do.
story.
I feel like we've turned a quarter.
Yeah. Because that story is reminding me of some things. But as a teacher and coach, I have seen kids more as a teacher that people have written off.
Yeah.
How do you say it? Written off?
Written off. I feel like
written off as like a bad kid or like they don't listen or they're not trying. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves. Hardly ever is someone not trying. More often when people aren't trying at something, it's because there's a lack of confidence there.
Right.
But I've always been the kid that people said were bad or weren't trying or like my friends misunderstood me and thought I was a jerk because I was like a bullyish
Well,
kid.
I think that's where you think that the people are just needing someone to believe in them and then they won't have these things anymore that you're trying to help with.
Yes.
So Which is good. And I do think you can be right. I just think in some cases you can be wrong too, especially as adults.
Yeah. I think I get it wrong more than I get it right, but the ones I get right, they're like really exciting.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. And like a lot of people closest to me, I think this is what you were trying to say with the other person you used, which you worded that wrong too, was that like sometimes people that other people don't like or get annoyed by, or like, I like really strong personalities,
right?
Whether it be, clearly, whether it be like everything I believe in, nothing I believe in. Like Jamie, one of our best friends, we probably have different views on a lot.
Right.
And she's one of my best friends. So I like a lot of like diverse people. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you're more like, you like your people that are like more like you.
Yes.
And maybe. I like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I feel like if you look at my best friends, they're so different.
Mm-hmm. I think you like a strong personality.
Yeah, I love a strong personality.
And I don't love a strong personality.
No.
I'm like, shut up.
But that's probably where things get hard, is when I bring another strong personality in with you, it's like annoying.
I'm like, who's this bitch? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's funny. We're getting really deep. It's like a counseling session.
That is really funny though, because I do think that's where I don't love the strong personalities
and I always
as much.
strong personalities.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot.
Interesting.
That's maybe what you meant with your bad wording, is like strong people.
Yes.
Strong people are intriguing to me.
Yes.
No matter what.
Yes.
Like Tyler's intriguing to me. Because he's very like strong, very smart in his
Take your
craft.
shirt off, Tyler.
Yeah. Speaking of, anyways, okay, so the book I was reading, Kyle's very strong too, which is funny.
Yes.
The book I was reading, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is so good. I read it in college. I had a really like boyfriend I didn't understand. Well, we weren't meant to be together, which you guys, I saw my ex-boyfriend at if you listen, you know who you are because you're going to know when I say it. And I talked about you on a podcast, and I have utmost respect for you. We just weren't meant to be. I saw him at the Liberty game, the high school I coach at. He was there with his kids. And I was driving home because I don't like to take the bus with the cheerleaders. It's just like, I don't love being on a bus. I feel like confined, like I'm stuck with them.
I feel like it's crashing.
Yes, all of it. But my daughter's on there, so it's like I should go down with her. But I just don't like it. So I drive separate. So I was driving home, and it was totally that Garth Brooks song.
I just thought, when you were saying that, I just thought of that song.
And it was at a game, like Friday
night. I think of that song all the time.
Yes. And it was like, sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers.
It's so good.
Yes. And I was talking to one of my cheerleaders who's injured, and I think she listens. So if she listens, because she said, you said we were naughty in that clip. Because I said, my cheerleaders, I know they're not innocent. But I'm like, you're not. And we had a great talk about like all the things, sex, dating, all the things. And I was talking about my ex-boyfriend, and I saw him. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was telling her we just weren't right. And I was trying to make it right. And it just wasn't right. And sometimes when you're trying to work at something so much, like my worst day with Kyle is my best day with any other guy.
Right.
Like he never makes me feel sick to my stomach. I never don't feel like he loves me. I never, like, he drives me nuts because we're different. But like I never feel those
It's not like the relationship.
No.
Is an issue.
Sick feelings. Oh my gosh. All the people are calling.
No, I literally thought of that song when you were we were talking about this last week, I think. It was like how sometimes we're so busy when you're like a maker, things happen. You are so used to making things go your way. I'm very like that. You're like that too. And sometimes you miss, like, was it you I was talking about this with? Yeah, we've talked about it a lot lately. And like sometimes you miss why God
is doing things.
But it was like so good. Like even if you miss like a flight, maybe it's because of, and if you just look at everything through that lens of why is this happening? Oh, it must be because it's like what God wants. You're less stressed out about it, about the things not going your way. If it's not working out, I wish I could like tell that to my kids.
I can. Yes. So Natalie, my best friend growing up, and she's still one of my best friends. We went on this thing. Her dad is Tom. He's a pastor. Chair squeaking. And we were very involved in youth group, and we, like you and I went on our Love Everyone thing. We went on, it's all going to work out. So every day, no matter what happened, we'd go, great, it's all going to work out. And everything worked out.
It does.
So like we didn't have money to go to JB's. You'd get like free ice cream. We'd be like, it's all going to work out. And then all of a sudden we'd run into someone and they'd be like, hey, want to go to JB's? We're like, we don't have any money. They're like, I do. We'd go. We'd like, see, it all worked out.
Right.
And then like when things pivoted, we'd be like, it's all going to work out.
Right.
Guess we're not going to the movies tonight. And then we ended up having the best night ever, met up with some randoms. not like random people on the street, like random friends. Like we weren't planning to hang out. And then plans unfolded into the best plan ever.
Yes.
So we always sat back and we're like, it's all going to work out. We're not going to stress. And everything always worked out.
Right.
It was like a time period.
So it's like when something happens, instead of being upset or wondering why this is happening, knowing, oh, this is meant to be this way, you'd have such a better peace about everything.
Yeah. I think that's something I've actually leaned into the last year is I've been like less control. I don't want control of everything because I think seeing my dad pass in the way he passed, if I were to pick the most perfect day ever, the way my dad would want to die, that would have been it.
It was crazy.
It was so like, it was even my niece Lincoln, and I've talked about that a little on old podcasts, but my niece Lincoln was born with a congenital heart defect and a bunch of other medical issues. She lived, they wanted my sister-in-law to terminate the pregnancy, and my sister-in-law is a person of faith and decided if God wants this baby to be born, she'll be born and it's in God's hands. And they totally let go of control, which has to be so hard. Lincoln lived 13 months, and it was the biggest blessing in all of our lives. My life has forever changed because of Lincoln. Kyle and I made so many big decisions during that time that changed the trajectory of our whole life. And we saw like life in front of our hands that was so precious. But I think sometimes the way Lincoln passed was the most beautiful thing. As much as it was so hard, it was like so God. And same with my dad. I always worried. I always knew my dad wasn't going to be in a hospice or in a nursing home or have full-time care. And I think why I made myself so sick during those 2 weeks before he passed is I saw where it was time to make a decision. He couldn't live just with my mom anymore. We were having to go check on him all day. This is intimate, but my dad lives with my brother, and one day I went to go surprise them and bring them dinner, and I saw my dad had an accident, and that was like, my dad would never have my mom help with something like that.
Right.
Like he's such a man.
Right.
And like seeing that, I was like, he won't want to live like this much longer.
Right.
Like he's just a prideful man.
No, he would never want to live.
And that was such a pivotal moment. I'll never forget it. And I was like, oh, it's getting time. But I worried we were going to have to get a nurse or we were going to have to do something. So I was making myself sick. And my dad got to go out. My mom and I talked about it yesterday. We almost thought he was turning a corner. Because my dad almost died like 10, 12, 15 times.
So many times.
We all were
like
always
every
worried.
December, he
Even
was in the
Bahamas,
hospital.
Yeah. Every December, we almost lost him. That's why it's so beautiful still that he died in December. Like it's his time. December was always hospital time. I always missed everything in December.
His lungs are filling. He's sick. It happened every year.
So it was in December. We thought he was turning a corner because weirdly he was starting to do a little better while we were in Vegas. So I didn't go help him to the room that night because he was like, had some pep in his step.
Right.
He gambled. I think he even had a drink. And it was literally like an Italian meal with his favorite people. If I were to write how he would have wanted to go in the casino, it would have been it. But if we would have tried to like step in that weekend and not send him to Vegas because everyone told us not to,
right,
he might have passed in my mom and my brother's house, and that would have changed everything.
Right.
Like having that memory there.
Right.
It was like, we all go to Vegas all the time. So it's like going to someone's gravesite, kind of. Like and anytime we all gamble, I think of my dad, it's just weird. And even yesterday, my mom's birthday was when he passed, and we didn't love it when it first happened. But we were trying to focus on my mom's birthday yesterday more than him passing. So it's kind of like a blessing. But I told my mom, if they both go, it's going to be a really horrible day.
Oh, that's a horrible day.
I know, but God has a plan. But I think when we live like that, I don't know. And with that boyfriend, if I would have just let it fall.
Right.
So what I was saying, it all really is going together, is I was listening to the book of 7 Habits because I was with him. And I was trying to change myself to make us work. You know when you do that? Like chameleon, we've all had the chameleon era where like.
I had bangs and black hair.
Because she was dating a Mexican? Is that politically correct? You say it like that?
Oh, so
a
fun.
Latino? Are they the same? Hispanic?
We got to be political. Yeah, it's funny. So Kennedy was texting a boy last night, and he's Mexican, and Ben goes, "Oh, she's got your genes. She likes the Mexicans."
Tisha always dated Mexican.
I love a Mexican.
Yeah, she does. And she loves Mexican food.
I still do. Yeah, I do.
And their family would make all the tamales.
I learned to make really good tacos. I love a Mexican.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we try to change. You try to look more Mexican.
I did.
Yeah. So the chameleon era, if you're in it, stop trying to make it work.
Right.
Like,
you shouldn't. I never changed one thing for Ben. In fact, I feel like I'm more myself.
You are more yourself with him than anyone.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I feel like I'm more myself too. When Kyle wasn't coming with me on Thanksgiving, you know, when you think you're like, I'm Joe
deal.
Miss Independent, and I'm always like, I got it. And like, there was something where I was like, I would not be okay without him. It's like just a reminder. I'm like, I
can't even think about it. It's horrible.
Yeah. But in the book, I remember I was listening to the book on the plane, going on a trip with that person that I saw at the game. And I was trying to make it work. And then I just should have just said, we're just not getting it.
Right.
But I think as women, we're always worried. And girls, we've talked about this before. They worry about being last. Don't worry about being last in your 20s or 30s, being the last one to get married. You better wait for the right one. And it's better to be the last married than first divorced. I'll say that over and over again. It's better to be
so many
last
people
married
have gotten
than first
divorced that were married first.
And when you're young and your friend gets married, you know when it's right and you know when it's wrong.
Oh, the night you got engaged, I called said boyfriend, the bangs.
The Latino?
And I was like, you better propose to me or we're done. He's like, we're broken up. I'm like, but we're really done.
You did break up with him right after.
I think I broke up with him right before, but we were like still trying. I was still trying to make it work. And then once you got engaged, I knew I couldn't.
He wasn't for you.
I just knew if he couldn't, because it
was 2 years.
I feel like he was making me think I was crazy for wanting to get married after 2 years. And it confirmed when I saw what because you guys had only been dating
5 months.
A few months. So when I saw that you got engaged, it made me like reflect on my own relationship and my own, like the things that I want for my life. And I was like, that's not a bad thing to want to get married after 2 years. That's normal.
Yeah.
And
they always make you feel crazy.
Exactly. He was making me feel crazy. And then once you got engaged, I was like, I'm not crazy. So then I called him. Didn't work out.
No, it does though. When my brother, started dating, and same thing, they got engaged like this. My sister-in-law, Allison, right when I was with the guy for 2.5 years in college, and when I saw their relationship, it was like the best version of my brother, the best version of my brother. They were so founded on like principles that mattered. It was like so clear God brought them together that I was like, this isn't that. Like you knew like this isn't that. I feel like that happened with all of us.
Totally.
Because I feel like when I found Kyle, it changed you. You found Ben, it changed our other friend, Jen Keller. I feel like she, like it all, you like realize what's real and what's not.
Definitely.
You know? But, so the book, again, this is the longest story about the book. I was listening to it again today, because I need to remember the values and principles in it. And what's funny is when I listened to the book or read the book on the plane years ago with that boyfriend, it did help us get along a little. So it like prolonged the inevitable because I was working on myself so much. It was exhausting.
Right.
But I was thinking about it today with Kyle, my husband. It talked about in our fight today too, our discussion. We don't really like fight. We more discuss.
You just get mad.
Remember on the plane when we were young and I was all, like we used to fight big in college. I was all, you know.
Forgot about that, the flip off.
And then one time our friends were all there and I was all, it was like bad. I think because we're passionate.
My knee hurts.
But in the book, it talked about win-win. And it was talking about how people we need to strive to understand before we're understood. And he was talking about, and the book was written 30 years ago. He was talking about in society when we're rushing, we're not listening to people as much because our to-do list is so big. And this is me normally. My to-do list is so big. There's so many things I'm trying to get done. And you might do this with your kids, or anyone might do this with their kids. Like, what do you need? What do you need?
Every day.
Like, and sometimes we're not listening to understand. We're listening to get our thing. Okay, cool. Get in the car, get this. Like, and I think sometimes kids and people react so poorly or are so angry because they don't feel heard. They don't feel understood. And I was thinking about Kyle, my husband, and I'm like, yeah, the Bahamas. Like, I wanted to go to the Bahamas so bad that maybe I wasn't hearing that I haven't been making money as much. And like, I do need to maybe cut some things if travel is still gonna be a big thing for me, if I'm not making enough money.
Right.
And if I would have just listened before I started arguing, like maybe he would have put his guard down more.
Right.
But like, I was so big on getting my point across that sometimes I'm not listening. I'm not like really listening.
I think maybe you weren't feeling heard about this specific topic. I don't think he hears you.
He doesn't.
A lot in this topic, how important it is to you.
Yes.
So I think that was like why you were frustrated.
Totally. So this weekend with you gone, Tisha was in Bahamas, and we don't like call each other when we're out of town really.
No, unless it's really urgent.
Like work for 5 minutes. I think we talked, really, that's it. Because it's like our time with our families. And our husbands get annoyed at our relationship. It gets weird. But when you're gone, I have to tell him everything because I can't tell you, you know? So I'm like, so today
He's like, I love this. He's booking flights for me.
He loves it. Like, and he does get more attention.
Yes.
And it was a slower paced 4 days because we weren't running everywhere.
Right.
So we do get along great when that's happening. And then I feel like because he's feeling understood, his guard is down.
Right.
So same as my guard's not down because I'm not feeling understood about travel. I feel like there's things that I'm just like, yeah. You know, like he calls me during the day. I'm like, yeah. You know, because I'm thinking about all my things I want to do.
Yeah.
So in the book today, I was thinking I need to be better because it was talking about our values versus our principles and like how important things are first, not urgent. Like right now, my client that's calling that really wants to talk about this house. That's urgent. But what's more important are like my values of like being here. This is something that's important to me. So I need to put like people's urgent things aside versus like what's important to me. That's
a good reminder. I feel like I don't do that. I feel like I put the urgent things above.
And in our job, when things are urgent, they're urgent. Because our kids and our husbands matter. So they should be the most important.
Right.
So they should feel heard first.
But sometimes when there's something urgent coming up, I like to deal with things right away. I don't like to put things off. It's very stressful to me.
I love that you're like that too. I think you're great.
I always want to just address the issue and get it solved because I can't stand the feeling of something hanging over me and thinking about it all day or some looming. It's stressful. So I just want to deal with it right away. So sometimes I'll put the more important thing on the back burner because I'm dealing with the urgent matter that doesn't matter. But
it was so good because I do it too.
Yes, it's horrible. All do it. Yeah, that's a good point.
It was so good. And it was like, sometimes you need a win-win. And it was talking about like synergy. And I do think that's our strength as our work team. And I do think it's our strength with Tyler. As much as Tyler, sometimes we're sassy. But the fact that we can say the truth to Tyler or to each other about what we really, like our vision, you get farther when we all listen to each other than just like my way.
Right.
You know? And I do think at work, we do listen to each other's point of view, even though it gets kind of like sassy sometimes, more me. But I think that's what makes us so successful in business is because we do really listen to each other. Like, what do we think we should do? And we really talk about it. And we really like, and win-win is taking a little of what you say and a little of what I say. And I think you and I, even though we had the fight, we really are good at that. Like we do take a little of what you want to do and a little of what I want to do. And we do it that way instead of like one of us not feeling heard.
Yeah. Ben and I had like a really weird moment and then we like worked through it because I explained how, and I'm not a big explainer how I'm feeling.
But you are with Ben.
Well, because otherwise he's so, so I have to explain why I'm doing this. But CJ, the listeners don't know, my oldest, got in a car accident but just himself, no one else was involved. And so he was driving by himself and then he called and he was crying and he said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I was like, okay, where are you? Are you hurt? Like, is anyone else involved? And obviously once we found out, no, but he was getting off the freeway when he got in the accident. So I'm still scared he's on the side of the freeway, going to get hit by a car. It was just very stressful. So I run in the room and I'm like, Ben, we got to go get him. This happened. And I have never seen Ben as mad in our whole marriage as he was.
Oh, he was mad right away.
Right away.
Before you got to CJ.
Before.
And that is interesting.
And I was annoyed.
Yeah.
Because I was so, like, I could tear up thinking about it. I was so worried. And I still am so shooken up about it because it was so scary. And he said he was okay on the phone, but I'm like, is he okay?
Yeah.
And is he going to get hit on the side of the freeway? I just wanted to get there so bad. So I go, Ben, let's go. We got to go. So he gets in the car and he's not fast. He's so slow. I'm like, oh my God, let's go. You know?
Kyle too. Yeah.
Oh, he's the slowest person.
When I'm in a hurry.
So we get in the car and he was so mad about it. And he was like, I've never seen him so mad. And he said the F word and he does not lose his cool. And he like punched the steering wheel. I have never seen him act like this. It was like shocking. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I was so taken. I couldn't even believe it because he does not like, no, I'm always calm. Coming unglued, yelling and cussing and doing all these weird things. He's very composed. And he was just like mad about the money. He's like, this is going to be a fortune. And I was so worked up. Still, we're not there to him. Now I'm mad that I know he's safe.
Yeah.
But then I wasn't. So we are driving to go get him, and he's going on and on about how expensive and the money, and I was like, let me out of the car. I'm going by myself. And so I'm trying to get out of the car. He's like, you're crazy. We're like on the road, on the main road. I'm trying to jump out the car. It was like a crazy, we looked like crazy people. So
well, emotions are high. I think that's kind of normal.
So we got there. We got him okay. We had to tow the car. But then later that night we were talking, and because I told him, I said, I hate parenting with you. You're the worst.
I love that you're being honest, though.
I know. I feel bad.
No, but it's the truth. There's those moments.
He's the best dad. He literally gives everything to his family. But he is so worried about not the things I'm worried about sometimes, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was just so scared our son wasn't okay or was not going to be okay. And
that kind of grosses you out sometimes. When
I was so grossed out.
You're just like, really?
I'm like, what's wrong with you? Yeah. And then I just was like, I hate parenting with you. It's awful.
Yeah, it gives you that weird feeling.
I go, it's the worst part about being married to you. And so that was hurtful. And so he does this thing where he reflects and doesn't get over anything. So I'm already over it. Once everything was safe and everyone's fine, and later that night, I'm like, okay, what are we having for dinner? And he's like, when you told me that you hate parenting with me, that was really, so I'm trying to be nice because I don't want to make
it bigger.
So I try to explain okay, I just was frustrated in that moment about the safety of our child. And that was the only thing I cared about. And you caring about the other stuff, I was just so in my emotions, and you don't act right when you're in emotions. So I said a hurtful thing. I don't mean that.
Yeah.
But because he's a great dad. But yeah. So.
But you're both not feeling heard.
No, I was thinking that. So we had to talk it through. We don't always do that. And we had to have a whole talk, and he had to say that wasn't nice, and I had to apologize and tell him I didn't mean it and blah, blah. But it was just.
But then you guys, that's good that you can talk through it though.
Right.
Well, I think we're wired different, but it's so frustrating when they are so one way. Parenting is the hardest thing. I was talking to Newlywed, and I was like, it's getting harder with the families and this and that. And I'm like, oh, it gets so much harder. Kyle and I go on a trip. We're 10 years old.
Same. We were best friends in the Bahamas.
Yeah, it's different. Mm-hmm. And parenting is so hard. But I think when we try to listen.
Well, and nobody reacts the same to everything. So like you said, I want people who are just like me. Ben reacts opposite of me in every way. And it's great because I think we get both. But it's so hard to collaborate with.
Yeah. But I think like we just talked about a lot, it's good to be heard and appreciate each other's differences. Right. And at the same time, it's all going to work out. I had that moment too where I was so thankful for Kyle this weekend, and I was like, God totally picked him for me.
Oh, totally.
And if I just stopped getting annoyed by certain things and leaning into the fact that it wasn't my picker, it was God's picker. Mm-hmm. So everything he is was designed to complement me, mm-hmm. and everything I am is designed to complement him, and leaning into letting it work out. Right. Rather than trying to control each other.
Or change him.
Yeah.
He is supposed to yell about everything.
Exactly. Otherwise, we would be broke on the side of the road.
Totally.
100%.
And with
Kyle's
parenting.
so better than me. A lot.
Ben makes our kids make the bed. I don't care if they make the bed. I don't make the bed. But it's so good that our kids are getting someone to tell them to make the bed.
And it's structure.
Totally.
And you're not as structured.
I'm not as structured.
Yeah. Well, I saw these. This is it because we're out of time too.
Oh,
but
shoot.
I saw these kids I took my mom to lunch, and these kids were going crazy. And the mom and dad were there, and I was like, ooh, if Kyle was here, this wouldn't go on.
Right.
He would have killed him already by now.
Right.
It made me appreciate him, even though I'm like, eh. When I don't have him, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're abusing me. But anyways, so that's it. Jerking around.
Oh, that's it.
Let it all work out. It'll all work out.
Yeah, God has a plan.
Totally. And Tisha's getting her surgery next week on the hemorrhoids.
No.
Hopefully it comes out okay. And the piercing's going to be gone too.
No.
Anyways, thanks for listening. Welcome to Jerking Around, a podcast that makes you feel better about yourself because we're a mess, just like you.
And Crystal makes fun of me the whole time.
And it's great. And it's real.